Hello everyone, welcome to this series on Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, and in this video we are going to discuss the comic and satiric artistry in the portrayal of the wife of Bath in The Wife of Bath's Prologue. Introduction. Chaucer's portrayal of the wife of Bath in the Canterbury Tales is a masterful blend of comic and satiric artistry. Through the character of the wife, Chaucer explores themes of marriage, sexuality, religion, and power dynamics in a way that is both entertaining and deeply critical of the societal and religious conventions of his time. The humor, irony, and sharp wit in her characterization not only make her one of the most memorable figures in English literature, but also allow Chaucer to subtly critique medieval views on women, marriage, and authority. Here's an examination of how Chaucer's comic and satiric artistry is crafted through The Wife of Bath. Humorous self-contradiction and irony. Chaucer establishes the wife of Bath as an amusingly contradictory figure who makes bold, often hypocritical claims. This self-contradiction is central to her comic appeal and satirical edge. Claims of authority versus subversion. The wife begins her prologue by asserting her authority on marriage through experience, disregarding scholarly authority. Yet, as she makes her case, she contradicts herself by relying on biblical examples to justify her multiple marriages and her sexual freedom. This irony, claiming experience but relying on religious justification, adds a layer of humor and satire, highlighting the way people often twist authority to suit their purposes. Moral flexibility. The wife's playful inconsistency, such as her use of religious references to support her unorthodox lifestyle, reveals a deep irony. By appropriating scripture selectively, she mocks the patriarchal and religious hypocrisy that condemns her actions but allows men to act similarly without reproach. Comic exaggeration of stereotypes. Chaucer uses the wife to exaggerate stereotypes of women in medieval literature, thus both embodying and satirizing them. Through The Wife of Bath, he offers a caricature of the domineering, talkative, sexually liberated woman that medieval men feared and wrought about as a cautionary tale. Exaggerated marital experience. The wife boasts of her 5 marriages, declaring herself an expert on marriage. Since I was 12 years of age. The idea of someone boasting about multiple marriages, especially during a time when women were expected to be chaste and loyal to a single husband, is humorous. Chaucer heightens this comedy by giving her an unapologetic and exuberant tone, which pokes fun at both her and societal expectations. Domineering wife. The wife reveals in the idea of control, declaring that each of her husbands was my debtor and my slave, a reversal of the traditional power dynamic. Chaucer's exaggeration mocks the fears of medieval men regarding female dominance, and by embracing these fears with such enthusiasm, the wife both embodies and ridicules the stereotype of the overpowering wife. Mockery of male-authored misogyny. Chaucer gives The Wife of Bath a sharp wit that allows her to turn the tables on male authorities, satirizing the misogyny present in many medieval texts. Her arguments about marriage and female agency directly counter male-authored texts that condemn women as deceitful, manipulative, and immoral. Biblical examples and male hypocrisy. The wife frequently quotes from scripture, referencing figures like Solomon, who had many wives, to support her own choices. By using religious texts to justify her actions, she not only mocks the male scholars who condemn women, but also exposes the hypocrisy in their selective interpretations. Satires on clerical misogyny. She humorously recounts male clerics' tales of wicked wives like Eve, Delilah, and Xanthippe, the nagging wife of Socrates, who allegedly poured urine on her husband's head. By ironically reinterpreting these stories, she highlights the absurdity and one-sided nature of such tales, showing how men use them to blame women for all of humanity's misfortunes. Through the wife of Bath's character, Chaucer critiques the tendency of men to caricature women negatively, challenging readers to question these stereotypes. Comic and satirical language. Chaucer's language in the prologue adds to the comic and satirical effects. The wife's earthy, colloquial language contrasts with the lofty, serious tones typically associated with religious or scholarly texts, which she mocks. Use of everyday language. The wife's direct and colloquial expressions, such as referring to her husband's obligations as a debt that they must pay, gives her speech a pragmatic and humorous tone. This bluntness, which deviates from more polite or refined expressions, emphasizes her disregard for social norms and satirizes the institution of marriage by reducing it to financial terms. Colorful matters. She uses memorable, earthy metaphors to describe herself and her relationships, such as referring to herself as barley bread compared to the wheat seed of virgins. This imagery is humorous and emphasizes her practical view of marriage, underscoring her rejection of virginity as an unattainable or even undesirable ideal. Satirical treatment of marriage and gender power dynamics. Marriage, as portrayed by the wife, is a battlefield where she seeks to establish her dominance, creating a satirical reversal of traditional gender roles. Chaucer uses her character to satirize both the institution of marriage and the unrealistic expectations placed upon women. Marriage as a game of control. The wife describes marriage as a game of give and take, where she cleverly manipulates her husbands to gain power and material benefits. She speaks of governing her husbands and claims that every wife should strive to gain sovereignty over her husband. This desire for control over men is exaggerated and comedic, as it subverts the traditional idea of marriage as a male-dominated institution. Satirical critique of gender roles. Through the wife's stories of manipulation and dominance, Chaucer critiques the double standards of medieval gender roles. Her pride in her ability to govern her husbands becomes a comic but pointed statement on the inequality in marriages of the time, suggesting that women often resort to manipulation as a means of attaining some degree of power. Comic nostalgia and self-reflection. Toward the end of her prologue, the wife reflects on her fading youth and beauty with a mix of humor and sadness. This nostalgic self-reflection adds a humanizing layer to her character, making her both sympathetic and relatable. Bittersweet humor. She laments that her youthful vigor, which allowed her to play with her husbands and dominate them, is now waning. This admission of aging and her fond memories of her earlier life create a bittersweet humor, as she seems both proud and resigned to her past. Chaucer's choice to include this nostalgic reflection softens her brash character and makes her more relatable, allowing the reader to see the toll that age takes on even the most vibrant personalities. Humanizing irony. By allowing the wife to acknowledge her age and past follies, Chaucer creates an irony that humanizes her. She is not simply a caricature of a domineering woman, she is also a person with a life's worth of experiences, wisdom and regrets, making her both a comic figure and a symbol of resilience. Conclusion: Chaucer's comic and satiric artistry in the portrayal of the wife of Bath is a blend of exaggeration, irony and wit, creating a character that is larger than life but also deeply reflective of medieval society's flaws and hypocrisies. The wife's humor, often crude and direct, is a vehicle for Chaucer's broader critiques of marriage, misogyny, and the societal expectations placed upon women. By embodying and satirizing both positive and negative stereotypes, the wife of Bath becomes a complex, paradoxical figure who engages readers in the contradictions of our society and forces them to reflect on their own assumptions about gender, authority, and morality. Through the wife of Bath, Chaucer achieves a timeless blend of humor and social critique, creating a character whose comic vitality and satirical insight remain as thought-provoking today as they were in medieval England. So this was the discussion on comic and satiric portrayal of the wife of Bath in the Canterbury Tales. We will meet in the next video and discuss some other aspect of this character. Until then, goodbye and thank you.